the health department, I believe, that typhoid shots are required if you have not had an inoculation during the past 4 years. That's the military standard. Now, if you have not had a typhoid inoculation in the last 4 years, you definitely need one. If you're in doubt, get one anyway, because these are simply booster shots. They won't hurt you. There's no physical pain involved. They could quite easily save your life. We have some other urgent ones here, and then we'll get to some personal messages. All United Geophysical personnel scheduled to fly to Party 562 or Party 565 on the North Slope this weekend. Please phone Broadway 27131 before 3 p.m. or Broadway 86375 after 3 p.m. Those numbers once again. Broadway 27131 before 3 p.m. Broadway 86375 after 3 p.m. We have one here from Civil Defense, which is directed to the businessmen of the area. And the Central Business District is a guarded area. However, arrangements have been made now to allow business property owners and business proprietors and their helpers to get to their buildings today to remove valuables and essential stock. And they're going to do this beginning at 2 o'clock this afternoon and stop at 7 o'clock tonight. And they will have a schedule for tomorrow, which they'll announce later. But businessmen and their helpers are required to enter the Central Business District from the police checkpoint at the Roosevelt Hotel, which is at 6th and H. And make sure you bring personal identification and some evidence relating you to the business place you want to go to. Come with a truck or other suitable vehicle to carry away the property you want. No children will be allowed in the area. No one will be allowed to enter any building bearing a red sign of condemnation under any circumstances. So if your building has been condemned, there's no point in you trying to go in there. This plan is for businesses only, and these people must check in at 6th and H, beginning at 2 p.m., bring identification, evidence that you're the owner of the property of the building you're heading for. No children will be allowed. They'll allow it between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. today and have a schedule for tomorrow.
We'll repeat that, too, later on, won't we, Darrell?
DVD.
Right. Oh, well, you're in good form.
Yeah.
All BLM male personnel having no serious problems with their family or homes and having transportation are requested to report to the BLM Fire Control Headquarters on Oil Well Road at 8 a.m. tomorrow. They should be prepared for cleanup work. No female employees, I repeat, no female employees are to report in until a formal announcement is made, which will be issued at some later date.
Here's an item from the Anchorage Times. They want all their people to report to work. Everyone has reported to work. The newsboy carriers are to report to your bundle drops at, what is that, 4? No, it's 5 p.m. today.
Is it 5?
Yeah, I think it is. The percent sign today. That's
right,
what it
on
is.
a typewriter.
I think
Not
it's
of case
5.
is all that's wrong.
Yeah, that's all. But in this case, the paper is going to go out, and they want the boys to be there at their regular bundle drops, and I think it's 5 p.m. If you have a typewriter, look and see what the
We'll check it out and confirm it anyway.
Yeah.
Well, that means that the Times will be turning out a paper, and...
that goes in your file.
Okay, let's...
There'll be a lot of pictures in there, probably.
Oh, boy. There has been a paper turned out, by the way, by Fairbanks, the Fairbanks Daily Miner, I believe it is. Daily News Miner. And they've put it out under two... would you confirm what the percentage... Yes. What is it 5? Okay, that's 5 o'clock today, then. The newsboys are to report to their drop locations. But the Daily News Miner of Fairbanks has turned out 2 publications, one under the banner heading of the Anchorage Daily Times and one under the banner heading of the Daily News.
Well, that was nice.
For the folks here, which is, as you say, real nice of them.
Say, for all the people who are working downtown, the East 5th Avenue Cafe near East 5th and Eagle is going to be open with hot food. And they also have room and board there for construction personnel.
That's wonderful. A lot of people are putting out a great effort in the downtown area, and anything that can be done to make their job a little easier, make their efforts a little lighter, much appreciated by them. We have a request here, I believe it is, for available clothing for a small baby under 6 months of age. I take it that these people have lost everything for the child. They need clothing. Call Fairfax 23558, Beverly Gertler. Beverly Girdler.
They tell us that Caribou's department store in Mountain View will be open until 6 o'clock this afternoon.
Very good.
And say, incidentally, where is it here? Anyone knowing the whereabouts of John Manders, please call Broadway 47075 or Broadway 88515. John Manders, his secretary, has not seen him since the Friday afternoon. She's very concerned. Anyone knows the whereabouts of John Manders, please call Broadway 47075. John Manders, well known here, an ex-mayor, been around here for a long, long time.
You have some more personals there? I have one.
Oh,
we have room for a couple and a baby, 2 miles by the Dearman Road, off to the right. You can get in touch with these people over at DI Diamond 41052, 41052.
Frank Brink, the drama department out at AMU, has accommodations for 2 people at mile 9 on the Seward Highway. His number is Diamond 41324, and incidentally, a lot of people will be glad to know that Frank is going to join us here in a little bit, and boy, that's going to be a good thing.
Go ahead with those, and when you're finished, Merrill, we'll do a brief coverage of the news, both the state news and our local scene.
Here's an item for Kenai, the Kenai Health Center. We'll have typhoid shots Monday from 9 to 9. This is from the state police. So all the people in the Soldotna, Kenai Soldotna area down there, and apparently all along that area, Cooper Landing and so on, typhoid shots at the Kenai Health Center Monday 9 to 9. Mrs. Martha Walker, call Broadway 78511. Mrs. Hatfield or Fort Richardson, 862-8251. That's from Tom Wade. And you got some more you want me to go?
Well,
we better finish that tape. Is that the idea?
Right, that's what we're going to do now. And when that's finished, we'll take a look at what's happening in news, and then we'll be back with more of these messages, both personal and those that the Civil Defense Operation has designated as urgent. We'd like to remind you that this is KFQD in Anchorage, Alaska, Civil Defense base station during this operation. We're broadcasting at 10,000 watts of power, 730 kilocycles on your AM radio dial. Now, I'd like to turn over the controls to Mr. Herb Shainlin, KFQD News Director. Herb?
Thank you, Bob. As we return to the press conference to which we were listening, we hear one of the reporters from the major networks asking a question. Back now to this exclusive KFQD recording.
And the Seattle fishermen who operate out of that area and who are assigned to fish in that area in the general waters. Is this going to affect this whole problem? Are these fishermen going to be allowed to go in other areas?
Of course, Alex, we hope that the day will come when we will have that when about 99% of the fishermen will be residents of Alaskans. We hope that the fishermen from Seattle will move here and become residents. And this has been the case more and more of the fishermen. Over the last 5 years, the emphasis of the state administration and working with the fisheries industry, with the fishermen, has been in building more of a local fishery, that the fishermen are local residents, and a far greater percentage of these people now are residents of the state of Alaska than ever was the case in territorial status.
Could I just at this point interject to say, for the members of the press from the lower 48, that's a new phrase I picked up, Governor, since I arrived this evening, that General Reeves' staff will assist you in facilities for the filing of your stories whenever you're ready. All right.
Are you going on tomorrow on this?
Yes. Our plan, subject to weather, is to cover as much of the area to which I have referred in the report I gave you earlier as possible. We cannot determine at this time whether it will be possible for us to land in any or all of these areas. We'll work on that tonight. But we are going to make an inspection tomorrow, starting as early after dawn as weather conditions will permit us to go. we will, if we're not able to land, we will make one of the lowest recorded flyovers in history.
Mr. McDermott, also, we'd like to see Anchorage as well.
Well, we're going, I might tell you that when we finish here, we are going back to the building where we had our earlier meeting for a few minutes. The writing end of the press corps can file their stories, and we will proceed from the other building. Which building is that, General? All right. All right, we will proceed from that building into Anchorage, and the photographers can go with us, and the writers, if they're ready, can come along, and if not, they can come immediately behind. As soon as they are ready, there will be transportation available for them. Tonight, we have one other meeting to take care of back at the other building, and then we will go.
We have rendezvous tomorrow morning, sir.
Yes, we'll give you, General, are we all billeted, the press will be where?
There in the building.
All right. Well, we will get word to you later tonight as to what the rendezvous time and point is for tomorrow morning.
These airplanes are all laid on. These two airplanes. Can the ships still not connect that? What we have to do international airport, open airport. Well, there's an airplane going out there. It's open, and the commercial flights might be going out. There should be a 10 or 10, 15 flight. It's 8 o'clock now. If we get the phone together,
Chicago is going to be able to photograph downtown at night.
Well,
that's what I thought.
Well, I think you can take a look at it tonight if you wish to with us to see what you...
As you can no doubt tell from the recording to which you were listening, the great concern evidenced by the authorities in the local area with reference to coverage of the press has and will continue to result in excellent coverage of our situation. The authorities have at this point things to a great degree well in hand. And the press conference last night, which was followed by a tour of the city, resulted in those outside being advised even further of the problems and the plans in Alaska today. Herb Chamberlain, KFQD News.
Thank you, Herb, very much for your most comprehensive report. We'd like to once again remind you that this was a rebroadcast of a meeting held last evening. It's 13 minutes past 1 o'clock Easter Sunday, Anchorage, Alaska time. And this is what's been happening. This is the news that is being reported on Associated Press and going out to the world outside. The known death toll in Alaska's devastating earthquake mounted steadily through the night. Federal and state officials now say that 66 persons are known dead, countless injured, and may be unaccounted for. President Johnson's personal representative, Edward McDermott, reports from Anchorage, as you heard, that the latest death toll is based on reports coming in from isolated communities that had not been heard from since the Friday night quake. An earlier figure of 38 was based on reports from Anchorage, Seward, Kodiak, Valdez, and Whittier. It may be days, possibly weeks, before the exact toll of dead, injured, and missing is known. Some evacuees have been flown from Alaska. 48 patients from Elmendorf Air Force Base have reached Travis Air Force Base near San Francisco, and 5 civilian scientists and 8 airmen have arrived at Hansom Air Force Base in Bedford, Massachusetts. An entire Minnesota National Guard unit was flown home. About 135 residents of Kodiak are to be airlifted to Seattle, and all 1,200 residents of Valdez have left the town, mostly by car. The armed forces in Alaska report that they have mounted a full-scale rescue and cleanup operation. All boats under the command of the Alaska Sea Frontier are being used to evacuate survivors from outlying districts. The Alaskan military commander, Lieutenant General Raymond Reeves, says he has all the help he needs at present and that any more would only confuse matters. Circuits between London and Australia are out of action this morning, presumably as a result of the Alaska quake. Members of Minnesota's National Guard, as we mentioned earlier, returned to Minneapolis from Alaska this morning with stories of shock and terror. The Guard's 133rd Air Transport Group flew 215 Minnesota Army Guardsmen home from 2 weeks of training about 50 miles southeast of Fairbanks. The Air Guardsmen arrived at Elmendorf Air Force Base near Anchorage just 3 hours before the quake hit. In other news, Governor William Egan said unequivocally last night that the earthquake and subsequent tidal waves and fire was the greatest natural disaster in the history of Alaska. We heard Governor Egan's voice broadcast on the tape we listened to here just a few moments ago. Egan, in asking and receiving President Johnson's designation of the hardest hit sectors as major disaster areas, estimated the total damage would run to at least $250 million. Egan pegged the death toll last night at 65, but he emphasized that the figure included several unconfirmed reports. Ironically, it was Egan's home community, the Prince William Sound fishing community of Valdez, which sustained the heaviest loss of life. Egan said 3 were known dead in Valdez, also ravaged by fire and tidal wave, and another 26 were missing and presumed drowned. The loss in Anchorage, as reported to Egan by Mayor George Chirac, was 12 known dead, with 2 more persons missing and 67 injured. Egan said that he had unconfirmed reports that 11 persons died at the little native village of Chenega on Nite Island in the Prince William Sound, and that a similar number died in the Kodiak area.
Bob, pardon me, but we have this announcement from the post office downtown. They need badly 15 gallons of white gas. If you have any white gas at all, call Civil Defense Office, Broadway 28863. The downtown post office needs 15 gallons of white gas right away. Broadway 28863. Thank you.
Thank you, Merrill. Returning now to the news that we have, this is being reported by Associated Press throughout the state of Alaska and throughout the lower 48, wherever news is being heard today. These are the items that they're talking about. The disaster of the Anchorage area. Governor Egan said there was 1 death apiece in the old Army port of Whittier and at Seward.
You're having your blood pressure taken at the same time. Just carry on.
What is happening is, while we're doing this, I'm having something pinned on me, and I'm not sure what it is. I hope your hand is steady, Herb.
How's your heart?
Thank you. Oh, very good. How's my blood pressure? Good. There is none at all. Well, I've suspected that for some time. Thank you, Herb. It says KFQD News on it, and I have just been appointed a KFQD News reporter, so with that, I will carry on then with the news.
Yes, but I want you to know that the money is less than you've been.
Thank you very much, Herb.
Well, so many things have happened in the last few days to disappoint me. I suppose this is just one more.
One more.
Right. Turning now to the items that pertain to us locally here.
Bob, here's the thing, too. I don't mean to keep interrupting.
Yes, you do.
Well, I do, but I didn't.
It's quite distracting.
Don't take that off.
No.
No, because we're having our picture taken.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, the news services from outdoors, or outside, you know, are here, and they want to take a picture of somebody telling the folks. Now,
That's nice.
just today, and this is something new, new development, which the people, I think, in Anchorage will be happy to hear. There's been a commission appointed, the Anchorage Reconstruction Commission, and we have a list of the people who are involved in that, and they are to be involved in a meeting this afternoon in the upstairs office of the fire department in the public safety building, and only these people are to attend. On this committee are Elmer Rasmuson of the National Bank of Alaska, Dick Conard of Citibank, Dan Cuddy, First National Bank, Ron Reddig of Alaska Mutual, Gordon Hartley, Robert Mcfarland, the head of the Alaska State Federation of Labor, Carl Brady, Brad Phillips, Joe Josephson, Cliff Groh, Chet Chadderton, Don Hill, Norm Schwab, John Manley, and Augie Reetz. This is the commission proper, and also involved in the commission for staff assistance will be Elmer Gagnon, Tal Elliott, John Nichols, and Jack Shoup. And this commission has some definite plans in mind, and they're going to go to work on them at 3 o'clock this afternoon in the upstairs office at the fire department in the public safety building. Only these people and the press will be allowed at that meeting, however. So that's a brand new development on the local scene. And there's, Bob, is something that is going to happen in about 40 minutes.
This one I'm very happy to announce, because it's going to clear up a great deal of the problems that have come up in the downtown area. The Central Business District is, of course, a guarded area,
However, arrangements have been made to allow business property owners and business proprietors and their helpers to their buildings today to remove valuables and essential stock. This will be done beginning at 2 p.m. today, as Merrill said, just 40 minutes from now. And it will continue until 7 p.m., at which time there will again be a curfew and a restriction put on that area. Now, the schedule for tomorrow will be announced later. Businessmen and their helpers are required to enter the Central Business District from the police checkpoint at the Roosevelt Hotel, 6th and 8th Streets. Bring personal identification and some evidence relating to you and relating you to your business. Come with a truck or another suitable vehicle for carrying away property. No children will be allowed. I repeat that, no children at all will be allowed in the area. No one is allowed to enter any building bearing a red sign of condemnation. And this is under any circumstances. No one is to enter a building bearing a red sign of condemnation. Now, this plan is for businesses only. These people must check in at 6th and H beginning at 2 p.m. Be sure and bring your identification and evidence that you are the owner or the proprietor of the building that you are heading for. That's at 2 o'clock, just 40 minutes from right now.
And Bob, Charlie Koger of Anchorage Natural Gas Company wants anyone from BLM to call Fairfax 22210. He has an urgent traffic message from stateside for Charlie Koger, I believe it is, of Anchorage Gas Company. It's COGER. They have an urgent message from the states for him if you'll call Fairfax 22210.
Good. The following are some of the reports made by department heads at a meeting of the city, state, and federal authorities. They say water is expected to be turned on sometime today in the area south of 5th Avenue and east of K Street. There'll be no water in the Turnagain area at all due to the devastation there. The supplying of water, of course, is dependent upon whether or not major leaks occur. It's been recommended that if households have water, they may use their sewer facilities. However, all water is to be boiled or treated before use. It may be treated by adding to 5 gallons of water 1 teaspoon of chlorine or any chlorine-containing bleach. Or if you would like to mix it in smaller quantities, add 16 drops to 1 gallon, 4 drops to 1 quart. Chlorine, Clorox, or any other type of bleach to your water, and this is the way to treat it. Be sure and do this. Now, if you're going to boil your water, boil it for a minimum of 5 minutes before considering it potable. By potable, we mean drinkable. Persons worried about shutting off gas appliances in households are advised that these are automatically shut off by the company. They cannot be supplied again until the equipment is reset by the gas company, so don't worry about that problem. Gas will be available in areas where the lines are not damaged. The spokesman said areas with damaged lines cannot be served in this emergency situation.
Bob, here's another emergency announcement from Providence Hospital. Dr. Ewing, or a representative, is to call Dr. Langson in Fairbanks, and we do not have the prefix in Fairbanks. The number is 23095, and this has to be before 1:45. The line is being held open until that time, and you shouldn't have any trouble with the operator there. The number is 23095. We don't have the prefix, but Dr. Ewing, or representative, is to call Dr. Langson in Fairbanks. At least by 1:45, the line's being held open.
Thank you, Merrill. A spokesman for the oil companies and others for the oil dealers have said that although the oil supply in Anchorage at this time is limited, it's believed that the fuel companies may ration the supply to serve those who are in most desperate need at this time. So if you have an adequate supply of oil at your residence, please make no efforts to contact the oil companies and have additional oil delivered to your home. Let this oil be used by those who have been stricken most severely and need it most badly. Food has been requisitioned from wholesalers in the South 48 and is being delivered here in Anchorage. There is no problem. We have at least a 30-day supply of food available in Anchorage at the present time. Military food kitchens are opening today to serve persons who are unable to cook. We have a kitchen set up on Elmendorf Air Force Base
You can get the exact location by contacting the sentry or the guard on duty at the gate if you want to go over there to eat lunch or dinner tonight. Also, Merrill, I understand right across from where you live.
Yes, they're all welcome at my house.
Out on the lawn there at the
Park Strip, right. On the Park Strip right across from, well, it's a little bit toward the inlet from the old Providence Hospital, between 9th and 10th, right on M Street, as a matter of fact, where M Street would be if it went all the way through the Park Strip.
Your living conditions are more en natural now.
Yes, they improved in the last days since they established that mess tent there.
It was very happy to hear about it. You were living in
They
the
take
squad.
excellent care of the kids.
They do.
I'm kidding, of course. We keep them at home.
Oh, you were. Thank you.
Yes.
Reports have been made of the damage in the Turnagain area, of course, and a number of houses involved in the collapse of the Bluff area. It's been estimated that 100 homes are considered a total loss. Now, these reports bring the homes that fell into the huge crevasse. Another 100 homes are damaged seriously. An estimate of the damage to homes in the Turnagain area is placed at about $5,500,000. But this estimate has been termed quite conservative. One source said that he estimates more than $125 million damage to houses in Anchorage proper. The city department heads have made preliminary surveys of the damage to city facilities. They estimate that the following. Telephone department says the underground plant has been lost. 25% of the central office equipment is lost. Damage to the telephone utility is estimated at $1,375,000. Municipal Light and Power Company, they estimate 200 circuit miles are down or damaged. 50% of underground conduits are damaged or destroyed. Damage to the turbine generators is reported minimal, however. Damage to the municipal light and power facilities is estimated at $250,000. The Public Works estimate 50 to 60% of the water distribution system has been damaged. 50 to 60% of the wells have been lost. Extensive damage has been done to the treatment plant. The sewer system, 25% of the general collection mains have been damaged. 60% of the outfall lines are damaged. Streets, curbs, gutters, and sidewalks, the estimate is 25%, or about 15 miles destroyed or severely damaged. In addition, of course, there's the estimated 10 miles in Spinard that was damaged. 5 miles of storm sewer system reported damaged. Damage to Public Works estimated at $30 million. The Port of Anchorage, 200 feet of access road to the port was damaged. There is structural damage and major damages to the cranes. Damage to the port estimated at $3,320,000. The total to city-owned utilities, more than $35 million. And the total to both city and private organizations, over $200 million. Don Fridley of the Anchorage Independent School District has reported on preliminary surveys of damage to Anchorage area schools. And Fridley said the Government Hill Elementary School is considered a total loss and that West High is also totally damaged. A classroom section of West High is in terrible shape, Fridley said. East High suffered some damage, but apparently not serious. Do you have something important there?
Well, this is just in connection with the schools. Nick Begich wants to announce that the Fort Rich schools will be open for normal school schedules. All faculty and administration asked to report tomorrow and dress for cleanup. So that's a pretty good indication there. But schools are to be on normal schedules, and all faculty and administration asked to report tomorrow and dress for cleanup. That's Fort Rich School. GI party.
Yeah.
Fort Rich.
That's one of the biggest GI parties in history, too. That's quite a mess over there at West High and some of the other schools, but they're going to get them back in shape, and before long, we'll be back running at normal operation in our educational system. Herb?
Well, I have to get out into the field once again. I'd like to remind the citizens of Anchorage that the police, fire department, public utility vehicles are still in great need of the availability of the roads. They will enforce these regulations. We suggest that you stay off the roads by all means. It is important that these vehicles be able to get where they have to go. It is also important that you do not go into the downtown area. You will not be admitted. The downtown area has been blocked off, and police will issue summonses if that is indicated. Here's an emergency message. Anyone who has Denali or someone from the Denali or the Standard Oil people, please call this station. Call KFQD with reference to diesel fuel for civil defense operations. Now, that fuel is extremely urgent. Please call KFQD, anyone from Denali Fuel or Standard Oil. Other messages are coming in to KFQD studios. We'll turn you back over now to Merrill Mael and, of course, to Bob Lake.
Thank you, Herb. Back he goes. There's a man who hasn't slept since
Way back.
Yeah, way back when. The pre-shake days.
Also, cut down on the power. You know, the power is pretty well overloaded all the way along, and if we're going to keep the power we have to use less of it. So that's the latest word from the civil defense folks there, too.
Right. General W.W. Lapsley, Division Engineer from Alaska and North Pacific Area Corps of Engineers, is making a personal survey of the disaster area, and based on his observations and those of other survey teams, he'll make recommendations as to what disaster assistance the Corps of Engineers can render. Now, they have a contract in force at this time to repair land approaches to the city dock where the ground was sunken in, and to make necessary repairs to the dock so that the Tonsina, which is due in here on Tuesday, can dock safely. The engineers will also make soundings of the water approaches to the dock to make sure there has been no change in the bottom that would be a hazard to navigation. Other contracts being negotiated to repair the 50/40th Hospital and the power plant at Elmendorf Air Force Base. We have another report. Shipping for this area will be handled from the Anchorage docks, which is good news. That means we can receive material, the much-needed supplies.
It's amazing, isn't it, there was so much, in your estimate a while ago there, all the problem they had down there. Now they're all fairly in shape to go right ahead.
I was just curious, now that you refer to it, just exactly what they...
It was pretty rough.
Right. $3,320,000 damaged, they said, and already they're back on the job. This is just another example of how the authorities, the various officials and services of the Anchorage area have met the task. That's all.
That's a
They
fact.
just did it.
Not only in this area, but every one of
Oh,
these
yeah.
things, and they really go to work. They're going to work.
This is
fast.
going on, multiplied time after time throughout the state of Alaska today, where the disaster struck.
I think this commission getting going today is a real good sign, a good solid approach to the thing.
You know what this reminds me of, Merrill?
No.
If I may, just for a moment. If you recall, not too long ago, when our late President Kennedy was assassinated, we had a demonstration of security for our nation in the rapid turnover of government from the late President Kennedy to the now President Lyndon B. Johnson. It happened in a matter of minutes. In fact, as President Kennedy lay fatally stricken on the hospital bed in Dallas, Texas, the wheels were turning and Lyndon B. Johnson was becoming President of the United States. This was a sign that our nation had a well-founded base. We can see by the disaster that has happened here in Anchorage and by the action that's been taken since this fatal Friday, Good Friday, as it started out to be, and Bad Friday as it turned out, that the wheels of government in Anchorage and throughout the state are turning with a like security. And it gives you a wonderfully sound feeling to know that regardless of what happens, only a matter of hours after this terrible thing strikes, we're getting back on our feet and we're starting to rebuild.
Yeah, I think that confidence has been transmitted all the way along, too, by the action of the people around here.
Bob, I wonder if I might mention here, I've been asked to repeat this message. The Central Business District is a guarded area. Now, arrangements have been made to allow the business property owners and their helpers to the buildings today to remove valuables and essential stock. This is going to be done beginning in about 25 minutes. It'll continue until about 7 o'clock tonight. Now, tomorrow's schedule will be announced later. Now, it's important to remember that the businessmen and the helpers are required to enter the Central Business District from the police checkpoint. That'll be at the Roosevelt Hotel at 6th and H. You must bring personal identification relating to you and the business place you want to go. Have a truck and other suitable vehicles if you're intent upon carrying away valuables from your property. No one We repeat, no one will be allowed to enter any building bearing a red sign of condemnation. No one will enter such a building under any circumstances. This rule will be enforced by the local police and the military men on the scene. This plan is for businesses only. These people must check in at 6th and H beginning at 2 o'clock. Bring identification with you. Again, no one will enter a building with a condemnation sign.
Good. Thank you very much, Herb. We have a report from Palmer that there were no casualties, and happy to report that to you. General announcement also from the Chugach and Eagle River area that there were no injuries there, and that's nice to know. The Red Cross asks, of course, that you cooperate with them in every way. The local disaster relief headquarters has been set up with over 3,600 welfare requests now being received from relatives and friends and people living in this area. Wherever possible, the Red Cross urges that you send airmail letters to those concerned in the South 48, and these letters are being carried out on a regularly scheduled basis from Anchorage at the present time. Also,
Say, Bob, we might mention, too, the typhoid shots down at the Kenai Health Center next Monday, all day, 9 to 9, in Kenai.
right.
Also, now this has to go before 1:45.
All right, let's go now with it. From the Providence Hospital, Dr.
Ewing, I think that is.
or his representative, would you please call Dr. Langson at Fairbanks? And we don't have the prefix on this. The number, however, is 23095. I'm sure if you're familiar with the Fairbanks telephone exchange up there, you'll be able to get through. Just ask the operator for the 23095. And please make this call prior to 1:45 today. The line will be held open until that time. That's Dr. Ewing or his representative. Anyone knowing them or their whereabouts, please let them know about this. To call Fairbanks, 23095 by 1:45. Right now, it's 23 minutes until 2 o'clock, Easter Sunday afternoon in Anchorage, Alaska. This is KFQD, and we are operating at full power, 10,000 watts. At 730 kilocycles on your AM radio dial. We are the Civil Defense base station at this present time and will continue to act as such until the emergency is no longer in effect. All right, Mr. Mael, by golly, it's good to be sitting with you and working with you. This is the first time we have worked so closely.
That's right,
The first time we've been sitting together in a one-man space, that's why.
Yeah, that's true, too. Well, we have a whole raft of messages here, but I just wonder if we got all the things we're supposed to get out of the way. I know you had one there.
Maybe we better do this. This is Dateline to Anchorage, of course, and it says, quick work. Much of it by volunteer groups kept victimized Anchorage residents fed and sheltered through their tragic Easter weekend. Menus were limited and beds not too soft, but it appeared that all needing help were taken care of. Weary volunteer leaders said last night that they had no idea how many victims had been served. Food apparently was no problem. No wholesalers, warehouses were 75% wrecked, and much food was swept from the supermarket shelves by the earthquake on Friday. Officials estimated that a 30-day supply of food is available in Anchorage at the present time. No rationing or price fixing was ordered. Wholesalers who managed to save 90% of their stocks pooled the food for distribution to supermarkets, most of whom opened soon after the quake, even with stock strewn through the aisles. The fare, however, was not ideal for the weight-conscious. Officials encouraged sparing use of water, boiling of that which is used, or treating it with chlorine. The few restaurants open restricted breakfast menus to fried foods and others which required no water. Boiling of that water, of course, is important. The few restaurants open restricted breakfast menus. Say now.
You're wiggling the chair again, George.
Yes,
With that any minute.
I think Alan walked in. That'll
Oh, wow. Alan Walters.
Our engineers certainly walked in.
No,
I think we're still on. Our engineer has just gone down to make sure we stay on.
Oh, well, good for him. He's been doing that, apparently, in and out, huh?
I should say at this point that these minor tremors will be felt periodically. They, insofar as the usual conduct of earthquakes, these are the settlings of the faults, as I'm sure that both of you have mentioned. These minor efforts will be felt periodically. They should certainly not occupy the magnitude that was felt Friday night, but they'll be felt. We just about 25 or 30 seconds ago felt another tremor in the area of Turnagain. It is not improbable that this has been felt throughout the city. I would say, there is no cause for alarm. Certainly nothing should be felt as was experienced just the other day. Bob, you have a note there.
Right, and this comes from the Anchorage Daily Times. They say they will be putting out a paper today. All carrier boys are asked to pick up their papers at the usual places at 5 p.m. They earlier requested that all personnel working for the Times report to work because they have a monumental task ahead of them of picking up the millions and millions of pieces of type that were strewn throughout their facilities during the earthquake.
Incidentally, has anyone mentioned by way of information, just coincidental information, that the information we're getting back now from the seismograph people, we have attempted, by the way, to contact Fordham University. There is a seismograph there. As yet, we have been unsuccessful, but my information is to the effect that the quake which we experienced Friday night was not only greater than that felt in the San Francisco quake, but was possibly the largest earthquake ever recorded by science. Had you been aware?
No. In fact, the last report we had, Herb, was that this quake registered the same degree on the Richter scale as did the San Francisco quake, and that it rated about, I believe, fifth that had ever been recorded.
Well, this was 8.5 on the scale. I do not have the information here with reference to other quakes, but information about 45 minutes ago was to the effect that this may well have been the largest. I certainly think from my personal point of view that I would be inclined to agree with that.
Well, this might tie in, I don't know, but all U.S. Geological Survey employees are to call Federal 34121 right away. All U.S. Geological Survey employees call Federal 34121 right away. They need you. So, now that we've gone through that little wiggle.
I have something here that I think is timely. The Alaskan Command has announced that the Alaskan area affected by the earthquake of the 27th may expect light tremors for approximately 1 week. Now, these tremors may go as high as 4 on the Richter scale, which will not be severe enough to cause tidal wave action. Now, this is a second message. All civilian employees of Elmendorf Air Force Base and Fort Richardson are requested to be at work at their regular time Monday, with the exception of Elmendorf school teachers. All military personnel at both bases who are not presently working on scheduled shift today will also report at their regular time. Repeating that very briefly, the Alaskan Command says that the area affected by the earthquake Friday night may expect light tremors for about a week. Now, these tremors may go as high as 4 on the Richter scale, which is about half the intensity felt Friday night. That will not be severe enough to cause tidal wave action. So there may be some further tremors, and be prepared for those.
Herb, don't you think we're all, at least those of us in the state of Alaska now, are going to have to readjust our thinking as to what an earthquake is? We felt what we are now calling a tremor a moment ago, and there was a time not too many days ago when had we felt that, we'd have been talking for a week about, oh, did you feel that earthquake?
Yes, I would have said, wow, the thing moved. I felt us move.
Yeah.
After Friday night, I think the fact that we felt ourselves move is not exactly the proper criterion to employ.
I think we're old-timers now, huh?
Yes, I remember the old earthquake of 1964 in Alaska.
Yeah. How can you forget it? Here we have a message. We would like all USGS Physical Survey employees to call the manager's office at Federal 34121. Also, now what are you doing, Herb?
Pictures are over.
Oh, thank you.
Fired.
Thank you very much. John Makowitz, or anyone knowing his whereabouts, please call Fairfax 21104. We have a report here that's sort of a correction. Girdler has clothes to give away. A little while ago I mentioned that they needed clothes. This isn't the case. They have clothes for a 6-month-old child to give away. And a little bit later on let's see, maybe we can do it now if I'm real fortunate. and fast at finding
Was
the
that
name.
I think that was in the personal. There wasn't.
I have it right here.
Boy,
How's
talk
that for
about,
luck?
Luck.
The number to call if you need clothes for a 6-month-old child, Fairfax 23558. Fairfax 23558. They have some clothes to give away. Thank you very much. Beverly Gertler. There's some people, people of Alaska have a big heart.
I don't know if the post office got their gas. They need 15 gallons of white gas. If you have any, call Civil Defense, Broadway 28863.
Right, they need to get gassed.
Right. Need that badly. You got to get those letters out. They're really holding the fort down there at the post office.
By the way, where are you fellows from?
They're from
UPI.
Oh, UPI.
United Press
You out of
Film
San
Service.
Francisco?
Yeah, movie town news.
Oh, yeah.
Movietown News.
You are out
Taking
of San
some
Francisco?
pictures.
Yes, I'm here.
Some good friends down there.
We've been asked to give the listing once again of the Anchorage Reconstruction Commission, which was just appointed today, and will go into operation in about an hour and 15 minutes for their first meeting upstairs at the Fire Department and Public Safety Building. Elmer Rasmuson, Dick Conard, Dan Cuddy, Ron Reddig, Gordon Hartley, Robert Mcfarland, Carl Brady, Brad Phillips, Joe Josephson, Cliff Grow, Chet Chadderton, Don Hill, Norm Schwab, John Manley, and Augie Reetz.
All right, and you have someone over there who wants to talk to you, so I'll complete this. The staff assistants will be Elmer Gagnon, Tal Elliott. I wish you were doing it again, Merrill. Elmer Gagnon, Tal Elliott, John Nichols, and Jack Shoup. The above-named people are to meet in the upstairs office of the fire department in the Public Safety Building. Now, only these people and the press are to attend this meeting, and it will be at 3 p.m. today. We'll repeat that again later on, just in case some of the people weren't notified, but let me say this, that those of you who did catch this announcement, will you pass it on to the others involved, and you might save us an awful lot of work. What we have here is a staff that we feel is doing a monumental job. Most of them are volunteers at this point, and it is quite a task to keep all these things straight, so if you can do whatever you can to help us. Right, it's 3 p.m. This is the conference, the Anchorage Reconstruction Commission.
What is it, 1 or 2?
Yes, there'll also be something else at 2 o'clock for you.
I think Herb can...
Herb, go check with Herb or with Alan Walters.
They can get you in on that.
These are the press here from San Francisco, a gentleman up from Movietone News. We've just been
it's really fun, though. I think, were you talking about something? Did you have an emergency thing?
No, I was just talking about us, you and I, together.
Well, this fella, I've seen him work, and he's typical of a lot of them who do it day in, day out, day in, day out. You know, they cover earthquakes, everything.
Yeah.
And I think it was when President Eisenhower was here, I had an Oricon, which is a sound-on-film camera.
Yeah.
And I have to set it up, I have to twist this, twist that, get thing. It takes me about an hour. This guy comes flying, this same guy comes flying, bam, bam, boom, shoves the microphone out there, he's finished.
I have never heard such silent operation either. Yeah. They were set up and operating, and it was all going on while we have been doing for you news, these public service announcements, and the whole thing. There wasn't at any time a clink of equipment. Of course, in here, with all of the hubbub and the busyness that's going on, it would be hard to hear a clink of equipment. But silent operation. The man is a genius with his equipment. Nice to see him.
Say, I don't know what that is, but it might be Red Cross information.
Is that why you handed it to me?
Yeah. Well, I have quite a few of them here. I dig out the good ones, the important ones.
See, this goes to Alan Lumnum. I see why you gave it to me now.
No, Lanham.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
See, they printed it wrong, and then they did it over again.
Uh-huh. Well, anyway, Alan, would you report to work immediately? Alan Lanham, report to the Red Cross at the YMCA. They need you over there.
Now, Tom Ousdale is to call the Department of Fish and Game or go to the office. They have a radio message for you there. Or radio messages for Tom Ousdale. Tom Ousdale. That's apparently to do with some shipping because Tom is in Alaska Steam there. Now, I thought these were something else too, but I guess they weren't.
All right.
Oh, now we got that call through apparently.
Good. Good. Now we appreciate that. Now we've been informed that call was made, so now we can destroy that information.
If we have information and pass it on to you,
such as, make a call or contact someone, would you please let us know when that contact has been made so that we can we can stop making the bulletin announcement for you. This way it allows someone else to get in. And, the thought struck me just a moment ago that this disaster has just shot to pieces this whole business of quit smoking or get cancer. I'll bet you...
Oh, yeah.
2/3 of the people that quit are back on them again now.
Where'd you go? I can't see. Oh, you're behind the smoke cloud.
Yeah, well,
I don't know
I said that was because of... No, I'm not, Rob, right now. I just put it out.
We have a raft of personals here, but I don't know what we're going to...
First thing tomorrow, we're going to have to get organized.
As a matter of fact, we have a lot of housing things here, too.
Speaking of housing, we have one that is particularly important, and it comes to us...
That's a pretty important one, too, for the Fort Rich folks.
You betcha. Why don't you do that right now, and I'll get
Nick
this one out.
Begich announces that the Fort Rich schools will be open for normal school schedules, so all faculty and administration report tomorrow and dress for cleanup. That's Fort Rich schools will be open for normal operation tomorrow. Well, not normal, but they'll be open the normal hours, so you have to come and dress for cleanup.
Yeah. We have the Alaska Housing Sales has gotten in touch with us. They're located right next door to Brewster's in Mountain View, and they have available right now 43 mobile homes with heat and light. These are located in various parks throughout the Anchorage area, and if you're in need of housing, this might be an ideal way to take care of your needs. Federal 33523 is the number. Federal 33523, or you can call Broadway 53075.
Got a correction right now. Nick Begich announces the Fort Rich schools will be open for normal school schedules, but on Tuesday.
What were you saying?
I was saying tomorrow as usual.
Why did you say that?
I don't know why I said that, but now it is on Tuesday that they will be open. So all faculty and administration for Fort Rich schools, that's Tuesday opening for the school's normal schedule.
Good. Typhoid shots. Be sure and get your typhoid shots today, and those of you who live in the Kenai area, you can get your shots at the Kenai Health Center beginning tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Now, don't miss out on this. It could be very important for you. According to information that we have, if you have not had a typhoid shot in the past 4 years, you should definitely get one. And even if there's any question in your mind at all, then get one anyway, because these are simply booster shots. But if you have had one and you know you have had one within the past 4 years, then it might be all right if you go ahead and disregard it.
Bob, this family is pretty famous around this area, and I suppose a lot of people might like
Briggs.
to know that they're all right. Yeah, Ruth and Dale Briggs out at Eagle River are doing fine, and they have accommodations for a couple and several children. Their telephone doesn't work, but if you're interested in going out there, believe you me, the Briggs will show you some hospitality you've never seen before. And all you have to do is go to the Eagle River Shopping Center there and ask for the Briggs, and they'll give you the whole story right there. But
Everybody knows where they are.
Everybody knows where they are. A couple and several children they have room for.
The East Fifth Avenue Cafe near East Fifth and Eagle Street has hot food available for the workers in the downtown area. There's also room and board for construction personnel. I don't know if this need has been met, but a short time ago we had a request that flashlight batteries were urgently needed for the workers downtown in the Pennies area. And if that need has been met, fine. If not, and you have batteries, go ahead and get it to them, will you?
I wonder if they ever got a hold of Charlie Coger down there, Anchorage Natural Gas. No, they don't need him. They need anybody from BLM, because they have an urgent traffic message from stateside. Call Fairfax 22210. Any individual from BLM.
The Anchorage Daily Times is going to try and turn out a publication today. They have asked that all persons employed with the Times report to work, and newspaper carriers are to report to your bundle drops at 5 p.m. today, because it's going to be out, and we're all going to find out what's happening. I'm losing it.
I wonder, well, you've only been here for several days.
No, I haven't.
I wonder if we've heard from either Denali or Standard Oil there. We needed a call from Standard or Denali Oil for called KFQD. And because we have to have some diesel fuel to maintain the operation here.
That's also for other civil defense facilities. It's not just for us. That diesel fuel, right. We have some diesel fuel on hand right now, but boy, they need it in other locations pretty bad. All BLM male personnel having no serious problems with family or homes and having transportation are requested to report to the BLM Fire Control Headquarters on Oil Well Road at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. They should be prepared for cleanup work, so dress appropriately. No female employees should go to work. I repeat that, no female employees are to report until formal announcement has been made anyway, which will be issued at some later date.
Well, all United Geophysical, it's from United Geophysical. All United Geophysical personnel scheduled to fly to Party 562 or Party 565 on the North Slope this weekend. Phone Broadway 27131 before 3 p.m. Broadway 27131 before 3 or after 3, Broadway 86375.
Relative to the typhoid vaccinations, the Jack Henry Post number 1 on 808 Fireweed Lane advises that they are out of serum at the present time, but they will let us know when they have more on hand. So in the meantime, if you'd like, you can go over to the Ora D. Clark School or the Willowcrest or the Airport Heights schools up until 8 o'clock tonight. Also, if you live in the vicinity or would like to drive out that way, the Edgewater is giving typhoid inoculations up until 8 o'clock, and they are giving them also at the Calvary Baptist Church on Government Hill, for those of you who live up in that neck of the woods. Now,
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Type now.
Isn't
You don't
that
have
nice?
to strain your eyeball there.
That's good. What's this one?
That's Alaska Airlines flight from Seattle. Is going to be here in about an hour and 45 minutes. Comes in at 3:45 and leaves at 5:15. Alaska Airlines Seattle flight.
That's nice to have flights regularly scheduled and
Yeah,
things
people
like
are coming and going, and a lot of people are staying here and are going to stay.
that. You're darn right. Distribution clerks are asked to report to the airport annex as soon as possible because they want to get the mail out. Can you reach over there and grab those?
What's this?
Yes, those are businesses that are operating and various other things. And why don't you do that and I'll do this and we'll just...
Well, we'll go like crazy
Oh,
here.
like that.
Okay, the Natural Gas Corporation requests that people stay in their homes in the following areas as they will be restoring service. Area 1, which is roughly bounded on the north by Chester Creek, on the south by Northern Lights Boulevard, on the east by Spenard Road, and on the west by Lake Otis. Area 2 is in the vicinity of Airport Cafe. Area 3, College Village. Area 4, Anchor Park. And I think all the businessmen have had this notice, but if you have an advertising sign for your store, please turn it off. It lessens the drain on the power supply available in Anchorage.
And that includes those that are electrically controlled or sensitized so that as it becomes dark, they come on. Make sure those are turned off so that tonight it's not just being used in vain.
And you can get to your business establishment starting in about a minute at 2 o'clock. They'll allow you back into the downtown area there.
Yeah, and that's...
Through 6th and H, that is, right by
Right.
the Roosevelt Hotel. That's the entrance gate they've established.
Be sure and take along your personal identification and some form of identification that will tie you to your business. There will be no children allowed, and no one, I repeat this, no one is allowed to enter any building bearing a red sign of condemnation. And there will be no exceptions. Under no circumstances go in because these buildings have been condemned simply because they are extremely dangerous. And it could, a simple thing like walking across the floor could set the whole thing to tumbling down. You could be crushed in the debris. Don't take a chance. Now, this plan is for businesses only. Those people must check in at 6th and H, as Merrill said, beginning right about 30 seconds from now. Take your identification.
Right. Now, let's see. They tell us that there is this is from Civil Defense, as a matter of fact, just came in, no official vaccination spot or location at the present time. Civil Defense will notify the moment they are reestablished.
I take it that is to mean that we're out of serum temporarily.
Must be for a brief period. I'll put that up there where we all know about it. So any of you who are just starting out the door, hold on for a minute because they're going to postpone briefly or whatever time it takes to replenish the serum stock. And the vaccinations will continue, and we'll tell you.